Detroit Farmers Market began in 1841. After its move to its present location in 1891, it was renamed Eastern Market. People from across the state, and even out of country, will come to the market to see what it has to offer. But how have we, the Motor City, become the new urban farmer? French settlers changed the landscape into ribbon farms, but it seems now that all we have are ribbon concrete jungles, and that's due to industrialization. The environmental concerns and impacts of the auto industry were not thought of until much later. Many workers found that the factory was a positive change in their lives, providing them with a steady income and a job. However, the environmental management of these factories was something else.
Waste oil that inevitably pollutes a river flowing close beside any large factory is here reclaimed. 600 gallons of it a day, and used for oiling roads and for fuel.
600 gallons a day. And where do you think that all went? Before an urban farmer can even think of repurposing their land, they have to get it tested for lead and other gifts from area factories. Our main purpose for being at Eastern Market this weekend? To see their side, to see what they've had to do as an urban farmer and how they've had to deal with the environmental and industrial concerns of the Motor City. Our first stop, grown in Detroit. Since 2006, the produce sold by Grown in Detroit are all grown by families and youth in community gardens and urban farms scattered throughout Detroit, Hamtramck, and Highland Park.
So with urban farming in Detroit, how do you start doing that?
Well, basically, you get together with a group of people that are mainly trying to focus on the same restaurants. And it's like when you have to have a main focus, and that focus is basically just turning around and food deserts around here, and it's like you're trying to mainly get people to eat healthier.
So these ones are pretty big.
When you first start off, it's like you just have to.
How do you know that where you're going to grow is like healthy? Like, do you have to test the soil? Like, do you have to I tend to move it or anything? But I tend to eat all the rough. Yeah.
When you sign up for the Garden Research Program, you have a chance to have your soil tested for free the first year that you have your garden.
Yeah.
So you'll know how good the soil is or how bad the soil is, what needs to be added, and essentially you'll know what to grow in your garden and how to care for it right off the bat.
Okay, how do you see urban farming as revitalizing Detroit?
It gives you the chance to experience growing crops and making food from the stuff that they grow.
Our next stop, a farm that's cut all of its transportation emissions and brings all of its produce by bicycle.
We only grow on three city lots. It's a size area about the size of a sixth of an acre. This is not a lot of area to grow the kind of quantity that you would need to sustain yourself off. I read somewhere recently that they estimated like 40 to 50,000 people will pass by your table at Eastern Market. I don't know if that's like an average or if that's the height of the season, but around this time of the morning, it definitely feels like it. I mean, we have dealt with our share of land acquisition issues. The city of Detroit doesn't make it easy to buy land from the city, and tracking down private owners of land is very difficult. But I think we just stuck to it, and in some cases it would be a year or more before we heard back from the owner. It's still kind of something that's happening. If it were a plant, it would be like a shoot. It would be a freshly sprouted plant above the soil, but just barely.
Our final interview for the day, Brother Nature Produce from Corktown, Detroit.
The issue with things in the city is very different. I would consider soil quality being much better for urban farms in the city that have built their own soil with fresh compost than the soil out in the country where the corn and soy and wheat is grown, because they use so many chemicals out there. Just years and years of Roundup being added to the soil. Find better soil quality with these smaller farms down here.
Great.
Can I get a thing with mine? Sure.
Chop it a little finer. We tend to, most urban farmers, they don't just take a rototiller to their backyard. They put stuff down like wood chips or whatever, and they build soil up with lots of compost. And so it's actually cleaner than most other soils that you would see. Thanks a lot.
And you have to actually get your soil tested before you do farming?
We always test. The Greening Detroit helps. They send soil tests out every year. It would be nice to have us, if U of M or Wayne State or MSU would have some kind of soil testing facility, you know. We have to send our stuff out to the University of Massachusetts.
Really?
Our farm makes a lot of its own compost. We have a special lab that we send ours to in Texas, which is a plant soil lab, and they'll do compost testing. They'll test, you know, if there's chemicals in the compost, or if there's like not enough potassium, nitrogen, or other trace minerals that you need to grow food. So you get a report card from some of these labs, but I don't know. It's really unfortunate that we have to send our stuff out to the other side of the country. We could do that here.
Right. And have you found that the soil quality has been pretty good, or?
Yeah, I'd say from the other urban farmers that I've talked to, which, you know, is at least 100 different people that I know that are gardening and farming, and the people at the Greening in Detroit often notice when they get these soil test results in, that I would say 1 or 2 people out of 10 has a site that they've been testing that they don't farm because it came back kind of high and lead. They're not growing food on it, but just when people decide they're going to farm or garden somewhere, they get a soil test done, and then if it's clean, they go ahead and put there. Occasionally, I would say about 10 to 20% of those tests come back with a slightly high or a high level of lead, which, you know, the common misconception is that a lot of the lots in the city are contaminated, but not really.
And what do you do if you have a kind of a high lead content or something?
Move somewhere else. Try the lot over there, try the lot over there.
Do you find that there's any other culprits other than lead, or is it primarily lead in this area?
There's, you know, some arsenic and other things that are being tested. Hi.
After leaving Eastern Market, we stumbled upon another urban farm, and it's amazing to see where these pop up, right in the middle of what would have been an industrial section. The future of urban farming lies in the hands of those who take the time and effort to repurpose the land and to check on the soils. Being environmentally conscious today about the problems that had been created yesterday can help us to revitalize Detroit.